Joy Borrero.
What's up, man? What's up, bro?
Oh man, I gotta talk to you about last night. I gotta
Man,
talk.
everybody's talking about it. It was a big upset. Nobody was expecting that. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh man, it's a big fight to definitely talk about. I wasn't expecting that. You know what I mean? I wasn't expecting it. But again, those heavyweight classes, bro, are something else. All you need is one power shot. That's all it takes.
I actually wasn't shocked because I've been saying this for quite some time. AJ, I don't mean to disrespect AJ, but I don't see him having a chin, and I don't see him having heart.
Man,
Is it fair to say he doesn't have heart?
That that is not far off. I do actually agree with you on that. We saw that the first time he lost against Andy Reese. He got dropped. We could see his heart went out the window the whole fight. You know what I mean? Um, but the weak shin part, look, Paul saying it right here. I agree, bro, with the weak shin part. They they improved on his boxing to make up for the lack of a chin that he had and the lack of heart. But again, when we saw Dubois, Dubois, he has a weird name. It's hard to say it, but when we saw Dubois drop him in the first round, we kind of saw AJ like, damn, it's happening again. And if we clearly see how it's going on and how the fight went on, we can definitely see that throughout the fight he wasn't concentrated. He was getting outboxed all the way to the fifth round. And then fifth round, he finally got a shot in where he hurt Dubois, but he did an amateur mistake. What it was, he let his emotions get to him, and instead of being poised and calm, boxing him, he said, I heard him, I'm going to go after him, throw everything I have, dropped his left hand down, and was chin up in the air. So Dubois, all he did was literally just throw that overhand right, landed it. That's all it is.
But haven't we seen this same mistake from AJ in the past? And with
Yes.
that Reese fight, you just mentioned it,
Yes.
Andy Reese.
Yes. I was looking at that, and yeah, he definitely did the same mistake with but it was a little bit different though. See, when you got a pressure fighter like Reese, you got shots coming from everywhere. It's hard, you can make a mistake. Any fighter can leave their hand down when you have so many punches coming at you. Dubois was hurt. There was no reason for him to get caught with that overhand right unless he did what he did. He stuck out his chin, left it out in the air, and got hit with it.
You as a fighter, uh, what do you have to say with a fighter that's hurt, an opponent that's hurt? Because I've talked to other fighters and they've told me the same thing, that fighters, when they're hurt, they're more dangerous.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes. Oh, definitely. You got to remember this. When a fighter's hurt, you got to remember that consciousness goes out the window. Critical thinking goes out the window. Your power measuring the reason behind your mind that measures power goes out. So you can throw a shot you think is soft or you're just trying to survive, and it's probably the hardest punch you're ever gonna throw. Why? Because the conscious mind behind it, you're not measuring your power. You're just in survival mode. So your survival instinct kicks in as a fighter. And that's why when they tell you don't look for the knockout, if you hurt them, calm down, be poised, look and place your shots. Why? Because all it takes is one punch from that hurt guy to take you down.
So what has AJ learned? Because he's gone through so many trainers and he seems to make mistakes all the time.
Well, that's the thing, and that's a big fact that happens to fighters. there's fighters that go to different trainers and learn a little bit and develop on it. But let's not forget, and I'm gonna mention his name, a fighter that is known to switch trainers más que los calzones, more than his own underwear, Devin Haney. What happened to Devin Haney? Got exposed. Why? Because he is so caught up with different trainers. His dad Bill was like, "Oh, I'm gonna switch him over here. He's gonna learn this. He's gonna learn that." To a certain point, is good, but what about the fighter building chemistry with that trainer? What about the fighter building that understanding with that trainer, being able to listen to what he says? AJ is at the point where he has switched so many trainers, he has so many voices in his head. He's not even paying attention to his corner telling him to do something because he's just going based off his own instinct.
Now, since you mentioned Haney, the last time we spoke, we said that Haney, he has money, so he doesn't really have to fight. He has money. Now that we talk about AJ, he's made so much money. Do you think he should even be fighting?
In all reality, I don't think so. Definitely, I think it's time for him maybe to do one more fight and then retire. I mean, it's bad, when a person from your own, the Gypsy King, is saying, "Dang, I just lost $150 million fight." You know what I mean? It's like it's bad when like your stocks crashed that much that you lost $150 million fight against an opponent. Now, what this is gonna do is actually benefiting because the way that Tyson Fury said that, it's kind of like he was gonna try to avoid the Usyk fight and try to bank on AJ winning that fight so that he can make it happen. And if he gets sued, he's not gonna lose everything because he still has $150 million to make with AJ. Well, guess what? That's not gonna happen no more. So he has to take that Usyk fight now.
I don't think Fury wants another Usyk fight.
He doesn't, but he has to, because that's the only money fight for him right now. The only other money fight there was AJ, and AJ lost. So there's no more money in there. You know what I mean? And we're talking about heavyweights. The heavyweight division should be one of the most interesting divisions in boxing. And right now it went from one of the most interesting to started going down in value.
Someone just mentioned Wilder. Why not Wilder?
What happened with Wilder? Wilder, that's a good fight now because Wilder and AJ is a good money fight for either of them. But whoever wins or whoever loses, it's going to be their last fight.
But it's still a fight that everyone wants to see. I want to see it.
Well, yeah, of course. Everybody wanted to see. But when that fight was at its peak, it was when AJ and Wilder were both undefeated. Eddie Matchroom kept pushing and pushing that fight away until Wilder lost and AJ lost. The value of the fight went down. But before they were getting crazy amount, they were getting offered, I believe it was $75 million each to fight each other. And now that fight went down from $75 million to maybe a $5 million fight now.
I know a lot of guys in the boxing world always talk bad about Wilder, but if that fight with Wilder and AJ happens, I'm going to lean towards Wilder.
Of course. Of course. And the reason why I would lean towards Wilder too is because Wilder's been hurt. But when Wilder's hurt, Wilder's never like, "Oh, I'm going to give up." Look at the Tyson Fury fights. Every time he got hurt, he still, even though he didn't have the power and wasn't able to keep going, his heart didn't diminish. He wasn't like, "I'm going to give up." You didn't see it in his eyes that he didn't have fight in him. He still had fight in him. Actually, I give props to Wilder's first coach before he fired him because he saved Wilder's life because Wilder has so much heart. He could have got himself killed.
And going back to this fight that just happened between Dubois and AJ, I heard someone say that Eddie Hearn wants to see a rematch.
There's why? You know what I mean? Like the reason why you gotta think about it, okay? Matchroom, Eddie Hearn's kind of like the modern day Don King now. Why? We saw it when Subriel Matias got beat by Liam Paro. At the start of the fight, everything was, oh, Subriel Matias this, Subriel Matias the boogeyman, Subriel Matias that. As soon as Subriel Matias lost the fight, what corner did Eddie Hearns go to right away?
Liam Paro.
And who else have we seen do that in the past?
Don King.
You know what I mean? So he's the same way. He's like, well, guess what? I lost AJ, but I can sign Dubois and make some money off Dubois. So guess what? I'm gonna go to the side as a promoter that's gonna make me money. You know what I mean? So that's why he wants to throw AJ against Dubois again because he knows, okay, AJ, if he gets hurt, he has that mental blockage. He's gonna try to take the fight. He's gonna lose. I can build off Dubois. But if AJ wins, AJ has already lost so much that there's barely any profit margin to make. So for me as a businessman, doesn't make no sense.
I got an idea. Now that you mentioned Fury, if Fury for some reason doesn't fight Usyk in a rematch, why not have Dubois versus Usyk in a rematch?
And that would be the essential fight to make because then it would be a unification. But in all reality, balls in Usyk's court. And I don't think Usyk's the type of fighter that will deny a fighter or will run away from a fighter. That's one thing that I will give props to Usyk. Usyk is a real fighter. He'll fight anybody. But at the end of the day, you also got to think about it. It's called prize fighting. If the money is right, of course, I'd say go take the fight. But if they're going to offer him peanuts, why is he going to take the fight? They're going to try to put Dubois against a couple of prospects or older fighters that are on their way out for him to increase his value a little bit more. And then they'll bring that and present that to Usyk as a big money fight.
I still hear a lot of boxing fans saying that Dubois beat Usyk when he knocked him down. That
And
controversial knockdown.
exactly, that's controversial, man. Like I said, right now he set himself up for that rematch. So if he's gonna go for it, I say in one or two fights, go for it.
Do you think AJ will retire or he will continue?
In all honesty, maybe a fight, two more fights, and then he'll retire. He ain't got nothing left to do in boxing. What is he gonna do? Who else is he gonna fight? Are we gonna watch? Do we want to watch another AJ versus Joseph Parker? You know what I mean? Like, let's be honest. There's AJ has fought most of the fighters in the heavyweight division, except a King Kong Ortiz, except a Wilder. And, and I don't think AJ has the boxing to beat a King Kong Ortiz, even though Ortiz is older. Ortiz has impeccable boxing. I don't think he has the power and resistance to withstand a power shot from Wilder. So those are two possible fights that he knows he could take and make some money, but is he really going to risk himself to take those?
Speaking of King Kong Ortiz, one of my favorite heavyweights of this time, um, for some reason, there's a lot of guys out there that say he's old, he's washed up, he's never been that good. I don't understand why. Why do some
People,
why why do
so
some say that he's old and washed up and he's never been that good? Why?
listen, he's a great boxer. That he is older, of course. Washed up, I don't think so. Maybe one, two fights under his belt. There's a reason why people weren't taking fights with him. He's Somebody mentioned he lost against Andy Reese, but let's be honest. If we were to go fair on that fight and they would have called the things that were needed to call, King Kong was actually beating Reese and making it a hard fight for him. It was just that one punch that landed clean that dropped Ortiz. And he even started recovering. So we can't just take the man and call him washed up or say he's done when he fought a way younger fighter, gave him trouble, gave him a battle, and actually was beating the younger fighter in his own school.
I was gonna say someone brought up a good point.
Yeah.
Uh, Everyone said that AJ was back on track when he beat MMA fighter Ngannou. So what happened last night? I thought he was back on track.
It's not that he was back on track, bro. You beat a MMA fighter that didn't really know too much about boxing. He knew striking. He made the reason why, and I tell people all this time, Ngannou looked good against Tyson Fury because Tyson Fury was not, sorry about that, was not training for the fight like he should have. He basically trained maybe 2 weeks for the fight. Try to get ready. You can't play boxing, and that's what he demonstrated. You know what I mean? AJ did what you're supposed to do as a boxer. After he beat Ngannou, that was a huge win for him. That was a huge fight for him. Why? Because even though it's MMA fighter and it was a striker, this MMA fighter gave a fight to was one at one time called the best heavyweight of all of the modern day of the division. But guess what? It doesn't matter if you're the best. If you have no discipline and you're not working hard, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Say I'm gonna be a world champion, but instead of running, instead of training, instead of hitting that bag, I'm sitting down at home with a bag of Doritos. Nobody's gonna come knocking on my door like, "Hey, here's the WBC world title. You're the world champion now." That's not how it works. You have to work. So it says hard word, blood, sweat, and tears go into this because I've lived it myself. I've seen it. I've cried in the gym because training has been so hard. I cried when I lost my first fight because I give so much for this. I know what it is sacrificing time with my family. I know what it is missing my daughter's first words, my son's first steps, because I've given everything for this sport because I suffer now, sacrifice now, and I'll enjoy everything later once I'm a world champion. That's what it means to be a boxer. It's not just talking about, you know, not just talking about I'm a boxer and all because I won and I beat so and so I can consider myself the greatest. No. You want to be the greatest, you got to be dedicated like the greatest. You don't see Hitman Hearns back in the day. You never saw him slacking off before a fight. You never saw um Sugar Ray Leonard. You never saw him slacking before a fight. You would see Sugar Ray Leonard's videos before a training camp. The way he would jump rope, he was always running. Muhammad Ali, all these guys that were great, they were great because they worked for it. These fighters nowadays got it all twisted. They want a big name, they want the fame, but they don't want to work for it.